Welcome back everybody, it's DestinysJesus here. In today's video, I'm going to take a look at Vico as he won the very first solo cash cup of the season with an insane 18 kill win, as was 11 kill win. He also just won the Red Bull contested Lan while playing in Scotland, and he actually won this cash cup playing from Sweden on an awful desk, not the best PC, and also playing like 30 ping from Sweden, which is absolutely crazy. Just quickly before we get into the video, if you want to support me, I did a full warm-up video with Vico on the Solos Masterclass. Solos Masterclass, I've done it for like 3 years now, and it has every single thing that you need to do to actually improve. And this warm-up routine by Vico is absolutely crazy. I'd really recommend it if you want to improve your aim, your mechanics to that top tier point that of course Vico is at. Let's go straight into the video though. Alright, the key to every successful W key game and setting yourself up to get earnings is going to be a strong off spawn. I just got done making a whole off spawn masterclass with the drop master, allows you to get any pros drop map. So let's take a look at what Vico does. First of all is he scouts out the floor spawn that the other player has out dropped him for. He knows there's only an AR, and especially the MK takes a lot of bullets to kill somebody off spawn. So he goes ahead and drops down inside, gets a shotgun, and then plays this fight extremely slow. Even though he misses this shot right here, doesn't commit into running into a bad angle and trying to just hit a one pump. Instead, he farms up, gets enough brick to place one stair, and then plays his natural right and peak that he has from the stair, hits a 90 tag, and then takes out that other player. And in this situation with no siphon being in the game now, a lot of players would mess up this next off spawn fight. He knows he's getting tested by another person, so what does he do? Immediately puts himself up towards the high ground of this building, so he has an advantage where he can see exactly where the player is and exactly what the player is trying to do. And then now that he's got this MK, he's able to land a couple tags onto this guy, crack him, and then now force this guy into playing passive on the back foot inside here. One really big mistake that people make when it comes to off spawn is trying to close fights too quick so they don't get third partied. Vico in this case, when there's a player just boxed up in this building, wants to play the fight nice and slow. He wants to get himself as many advantages in off spawn. So you can see here, he goes ahead and gets himself decently stacked on whites, gets himself ready to actually fight this guy. However, he doesn't commit to just getting on the walls and immediately fighting this guy. Instead, he wants to play nice smart angles, farms up a little bit more, upgrades his shotgun, and then now he's pretty much got all the advantages apart from mats. So you can see here, as he approaches this guy, instead of just constantly breaking things and trying to get a shot on him, instead he's just going to smack and constantly swap the angles that he's pressuring from to try to catch this guy off guard and force him into making a mistake. He doesn't know anything about what this guy has, you know, if he's got full HP build or whether he's got a shotgun, so he's just going to smack on walls multiple times and then play slow and then swap his angles, and you can see him do this constantly later on. And later on, it comes down to a 50-50, but Vico goes ahead and wins that off spawn just because of how slowly he played it. And especially here, he probably worried about getting third party, so he goes ahead and establishes himself back up towards the high ground in a second, just to scout out and wait for the bot to spawn in potentially to get mythics. Now we've got Vico W King off spawn, and as you can see here, he is not in a good position to be W King. And a lot of you guys shouldn't be W King like this. He's only got 19 builds, and he's only got 3 minutes. He's not even full HP. So as he starts this fight, what does he do? He creates an advantage by getting a beam right here. It's a 60 tag. Now that 60 tag, of course, isn't enough to W key off most of the time. So he waits for the guy to bloom fight him, wins that bloom fight, cracks him, and then as he comes over here, so many players will make the mistake of not keeping up pressure. Either they'd go ahead and reload the AR, which he starts doing and he cancels, or maybe they'd stop and like farm a tree and just try to get a bit more mats. But instead, Vico immediately throws the boomerang at the guy and tries exploding it as it gets towards this box. These boomerangs, if you can practice them, guys, they are very effective because right here you can easily get a 60 tag. But instead, he just uses the boomerang to pressure this guy and get himself into a position where he can now begin ramping towards him. First things first is he does this nice build technique where he goes ahead and places the wall on top of his stair, so he's immediately a level up on this guy, and very cautiously here, he doesn't waste too many mats. He goes ahead and places one wall rather than doing like an extra ramp wall towards this guy just so he can't get coned, and then now he's going to go ahead and pressure. And one thing with Vico is he always pressures from the right hand side. So as he approaches from this right hand side, he's trying to pressure this wall, but he misswings his pickaxe and actually hits the floor on this very edge, which is a very useful wall replace technique to do, because the guy's of course thinking he's going to be taking his cone or taking his wall right here from this top position, and instead Vico takes his floor, and then now is able to continue pressuring, and the guy's forced to go downwards. You can't stay in that box anymore. What does he do? Immediately tries to exploit in by handling right here, and he gets very unfortunate not exploiting in right here. A lot of times he closed the fight out, but unfortunately this guy realized he was going for the floor, held it this time. So what does Vico do? Immediately pressures from the right hand wall. Whenever somebody's in a 2-1, guys, never approach on the wall that they're facing. Instead, go ahead and swing on the right hand wall, and as you can see here, it lags a little bit, but he's able to basically get straight in and max the guy before he's able to reset his wall and take him out. And now Vico is completely set up to W key the rest of this game and he's got full HP finally. Now Vico goes ahead and doubles back to his drop spot, those mats that he got just from that guy a second ago, and he's going to go ahead and get the key card and get the vault for the mythic flapjack. You guys don't need to have mythics and slurps to W key with. You can basically do all of these things that he's doing in these games without them, but of course W keying with mythics is going to make it 10 times easier to close out fights. One really big difference in W keying this season compared to last is the fact that chug splash has been removed. So if you just get a simple 40 tag or a beam of an MK before a fight starts, as long as the cashers haven't spawned in yet and the player fighting doesn't have slurps, you're going to be able to maintain that damage advantage. And Vico uses this advantage here. He makes the guy commit to popping a big pot, so he counts in his head 1, 2, 3. And as the guy's getting towards that sort of end of popping the big pot, he tries to time the slide in. However, luckily for this guy, he's able to go ahead and stop popping it just in time to hold the wall. But a lot of worse players will be caught out by that. And what does Vico do immediately after pressuring this front wall is he swaps his angle again. And what does he do? Swaps it to the right hand side, gets the top control right here. There's a slightly bad edit. You could argue that he should try to place the wall right here. But he's able to out damage the guy because he lines up his shot. And what does he do? Knowing that the guy's now been hit for 40 and then 133, he just sprays through and tries to commit into taking him out. And a lot of people aren't going to be expecting you to do that. They will expect after hitting you 100, you're going to run off and heal and try to pop minis, but not Vico. He keeps up the pressure and keeps trying to spray you, and he takes you out. One of the best tips I give you guys if you want to get your first earnings or you want to try to go ahead and W key more is just trying to get gold to get key master or to get the exotic grab bag. It is so good because it means that you're going to be able to go ahead and buy exotic shotguns or go ahead and get one from, of course, the exotic grab bag. As you can see here, the heavy shotgun is really good, but the Maven is unbelievable. You get a little chip tag like this, and you've got speed boost perks, so you can just run through walls for the entirety of your fights. As long as you get a little bit of damage at the start of them, it gives you a speed effect. Now, as Vico's pressuring this player, he's always playing from above. He's going to go ahead and play this right-hand peek onto the top of his wall. A lot of players still don't do this. They just stand in the open. But as you can see, Vico is completely protected as he's doing this wall replace right here. So the guy can't even get a timing shot on him as he comes through. And now he's able to go ahead and hop down, get the wall, get the cone slide on the player, and very nicely there is a middle window so he can't get shot, and then holds the wall for this player to try to replace this. So many people, they do a nice bit of piece control, like for example there, and they'll make the mistake of just editing while the wall is low HP. Vico doesn't do that. He holds the wall, waits for the player to do the classic, try to break it, and then now knows his only escape is out this right hand side, so he's going to shoot him in the side as he gets out the box. Unfortunately, Vico gets hit to low HP while trying to close out the fight. So what does he do? Plays it nice and slow, backs up, pops one of his slurps, and then now very nicely, as you can see, as he gets this cone from below the guy's box. Very useful tip when you're trying to fight people and close out fights. And then now he's going to be able to go ahead and just close out the fight by running into the guy's face, as he knows he's got this massive HP advantage. One of the most important skills that you guys need to have for W keying isn't just having insanely good aim or really good mechanics like Vico does, but is instead just having a little bit of a brain and deciding what fights are worth it. So as you can see here, this player's quite obviously just got their cash, and Vico, instead of just trying to fight him and pressure his walls, instead just runs completely past him and just burns his wood, getting away from it. There's no point trying to take a fight versus somebody like that. He doesn't let him go take a little bit of damage on him, and instead of getting angry or upset and trying to fight him because he's tagging him in the back, instead he just leaves it and now is able to rotate and get himself into a better position on zone, so he's not on edge of third where pretty much everybody is getting their cash. Instead now he's on the center of zone and he's able to find a much worse player just wandering around, and he gets a nice beam on him and is now able to take this fight and close out this fight very easily. One very nice thing that Vico does throughout this fight is the fact that he's completely happy just taking damage trades versus this player, because he knows he's already gotten pretty low. He just wants to get this final crack so he can close out the fight quicker, and he does it in quite a few nice ways. So you can see as the other guy's going ahead and dropping down, he goes ahead and gets these walls extended downwards as he goes towards the guy, and then finally closes out the fight by hopping in. And quite right here, he did actually get fairly lucky to not die, because the guy's got a jump shotgun, and he was able to line up his last shot and take him out, and then now get a nice little refresh to center zone and set himself up in a good position to win this game. Now Vico's going to continue W keying, but he does it from edge of storm. He's already got himself insanely stacked, but he still wants to take a couple more fights and just get his mats up a little bit. And how does he do this? First of all, he usually crouches up by ADSing, so he makes absolutely no noise. He gets a whole lot of damage onto poor John Pork right here, and then take a look at how he pressures this other player. He keeps on using the exotic to pressure and try to slide in right here. As the other player gets out, what does he do? Instead of pressuring and trying to get into the box horizontally like this, he gets the side wall, so he's not trying to wall replace in the front. Gets that side wall, knows the guy is going to wrap back through his original box, goes there and gets the edit from above here, guy almost runs into it, and again, you've got to think, other players 1 HP, they're pressure, they're low, they're just going to keep on trying to rebox. What does he do? Shoots the wall once to make the guy worried about that wall being taken or getting sprayed in on, and then goes from the side wall, pieces up poor John Pork, and takes him out. Vico, as he's running around a little bit later on in the game, spots this player that's only held by 1 wall. So he waits for a nice time where the other guy is distracted, and actually shoots him out. And then here, he's going to wait for the other players around him to server spray. Whenever you guys are fighting this late in the game, always make sure that your back is to the empty side of the zone. So you can see here, Vico has got his back to nobody. Which means as this player gets cracked, he's going to wait a second for him to be facing the other way and to be holding the other people spraying him. Now gets into the box. And the reason Vico doesn't keep on getting server sprayed here is because he ends up backing up towards where there's nobody, and all these other players are worried about rotating as the next zone pulls. Basically a perfect refresh that you can find if you spot somebody not held up too well. A lot of you guys really struggle with rotating these new max distance zones, so let's take a look at how Vico does it, as well as how he gets kills while rotating as well. First of all, is putting yourself up on a high layer, so ramping somebody as you come into zone is very important. So you can see here, Vico still has 1k mats, but he's in a really good position in terms of being able to scout out other people and shoot people as they rotate. So first of all, gets a kill on a guy who's pretty low HP, and then secondly, instead of rotating early here, he's going to go ahead and try to kill 1 more player, just so he can sort of create a little bit of space around him to actually get this kill. Gets this 1 kill, slides down towards it, pops a slurp juice in Storm, and is able to carry the med mist here, so he's got really good whites to come out of Storm with. Next is he realizes that he probably shouldn't be fighting people in Storm at this point. He's already got 2 kills, so he doesn't shoot that guy at all, he just lets him rotate. And one very good thing is if you just let somebody be and you don't shoot at them, they're normally not going to shoot back because they sort of realize, oh, this guy's not an idiot, he's not going to grief me. However, unfortunately here, this guy tries to shoot Vico back in Storm when he's got a whole load of distance to go. So what does Vico do? First of all, is he just pressures him. He shoots for the shotguns, trying to get the speed boost effect. So right here, he's got chilly effect. He's able to sprint out of Storm right now, and then just pressures him as he rotates. You can see how good this is, just sliding. Instead of Vico going to block off all these walls so he doesn't get damaged, the other player is doing it for him. So he's actually saving all of his mats as he comes in here. And now the other player is getting shot, and he's forced to stop. Checks the bush, spots other people potentially holding him. So what does he do? Uses line of sight. Uses these trees right here, and also this slight mountain ridge as he comes in to actually get in completely for free. And the other player behind him who's shooting at him is now getting focused by all these other people. Again, as he's coming in, doesn't just box down on low ground or go next to this guy where it's inviting pressure. Instead, he goes above, makes sure he's well connected, connects to the ground right here, and then boxes in a nice position on zone and didn't take any damage for the rest of that rotate. Also, one thing with Vico is as soon as he's done boxing up, is he sort of assesses the players around him and decides if they're good or bad, and then he's going to go ahead and base that and try to fight them based on that. So as you can see here, this guy that was shooting him didn't do a good job of pressuring him or doing anything like that. So Vico's immediately just going to hop on the walls, pressures him from above, guy's panicking, gets the wall on him, and then takes him out. And now is a nice big refresh to carry on the game with. As you get into 8 zone here, Vico is still looking for kills, and take a look at how he approaches this fight. Not just in how quickly he finishes it, but how he actually does it. First of all, as he goes ahead and gets a free tag on the guy as he's starting ramping towards zone. It's a nice little chip tag right here, and he tries to go underneath to just get straight into the guy's face and take him out with that tag and with that speed effect. However, the guy's done the correct thing and placed the cone, so instead Vico is going to go ahead and approach from inside with his back to Storm. This is really important. As I said earlier, is that if this guy was to go spray or if anybody else is going to rotate into them, he is the one who's going to get pressured and not Vico. Vico is basically safe to just smack on the wall right here, which he does. Unfortunately though, he ends up messing up and actually sliding down, but the wall is still left on low HP. And as you can see, the guy just chooses the wrong time to try to pop a big pot, and Vico is able to replace the wall with a bottom right hand peak playing below this right hand peak that he's got going with this stair already. Goes for the side wall out towards here. The guy tries to get a shotgun replacing the wall. Vico's come back and held it. And guys, do not say ping. This was playing in Sweden. Vico's just absolutely insanely good at the game. And then he takes him out straight after. As we get to the later portion of the game here, Vico's absolutely on no mats and he's pretty much out of heals as well, only got whites. So he decides to just drop down towards low ground and run along this ridge down here and play his med mist. It seems that all the players up top are going to fight, and he's the only player that thought of doing this, and he basically gets a free rotate to the next zone. However, one thing he does, which is very nice, is he doesn't play down here for too long. He knows if he just stays down here, he's probably just going to get sprayed by somebody else later on when some of these players have died. So instead, he's going to go ahead and try to make his way up just by manting up and saving some of his mats. You can see, gets himself up here, It goes down to a top 3 situation. Very important is that you listen for that sort of sound right there as you're playing endgames for these final zone situations. And here he gets a crack onto the player on height, keeps on pressuring, hits him white, and now realizes what he has to do. This other player on mid ground's probably just fragged out, got a few kills, and the other player on height is 1 HP. And Vico knows he can't just play low ground to win the game. Instead of trying to focus on killing this player, instead he mantles up through this other guy's tarp, puts himself into a really nice spot to mantle up backside, catches this guy off, gets the Cypher mats from that, and then take a look at how well he plays this 1v1. Then take a look at how well he plays this 1v1 at the end. Instead of healing up and trying to run back in Storm and do anything too complicated, instead he just focuses on catching this guy off guard. There's a nice flaw right here which invites the guy into making a mistake. Then he puts himself up on that stair, and the very same peak that he did at the very start of the game, if you guys remember, the right hand stair peak, he does it again here. There's a right hand, then blocks the guy off, then goes ahead and lands 2 tack shots to take him out. Really simple fundamental stuff is what allows Vico to do very well. Even on a bad setup with a bad desk, with bad ping in Sweden, he still managed to win a cash cup. And I guarantee you guys can all win some games in these solo cash cups this season if you just apply your fundamentals like Vico did really well here.